Now we got Fireside Stats. Look at Max Letterman oh, I'm sorry. That's not Max Letterman. Who are you, Max, tonight?
Well, we're going to take a little run into the time machine. I'm going to be Franklin Delano Roosevelt tonight. And I just want you guys to remember, happiness lies not in the mere possession of the basketball. It lies in the joy of the bucket and the thrill of creative offense. So we're going to start with Chris Mannix here. I pledge myself to a new deal for the American people, and specifically Jaylen Brown. Now, when he signed his extension, there were a lot of people that said that he may have been getting a government handout. What are you saying now?
First, I think this segment's even dumber than your post-game segments, but I do think that nationally there's this kind of belief that Jaylen Brown continues to be overpaid. But I don't think people take enough of a deeper dive into his stats, see what he's done all season long. I think the Celtics are likely going to get 2 All-Stars this year. Jaylen Brown's got a strong case to being one of them. I mean, he has been a consistent offensive player. His three-point shooting is back up to where it was a couple of seasons ago. His defense has always been one of his hallmarks. I think he's worth every nickel. And look, if the Celtics didn't sign him to that extension, with the way this free agent class is shaking out next summer, somebody out there would have given Jaylen Brown a max-level contract based on how he's playing. It's as simple as that. So I'm not going to call $100+ million a bargain, but they got a good deal.
Don't we do this after Danny Ainge signs everybody? We say, oh, he might have overpaid, and then like a year later, or in this case, or what feels like a month later, we're like, oh, he might have got a good value. The thing that stands out to me about Jaylen Brown this year is his ball handling. You know, he was almost a liability at times to put the ball on the floor. He didn't have the vision to create for others. He really worked on this summer. Tony Dobbins, their assistant coach, working on his ball handling, making sure he's able to spray the ball around the court. And I just think it unlocked so much more here for Jaylen Brown, whose game is just so much better all around because of it. And it goes beyond the scoring. It goes beyond the defense. To me, it's the way he's now unlocked everything with that ball handling.
Yeah, Chris, but you also got to talk about, you know, the Celtics putting the ball in his hands. He didn't have the opportunity last year with Kyrie Irving here. Kemba Walker, even though he was ball dominant in Charlotte, not so much here. This is more to Brad Stevens' liking, I think, offensively. And just think about this. We talk about Jaylen's contract. It doesn't kick in until next year. What's he going to be next year, another year? So, you know, people may say, oh, he was overpaid, that or this or that. He's averaging 20 points per game. He gets better every single year, and I expect he'll be better again next year as well, Max.
It's not surprising that you guys would leave out leadership, which is something that I know a lot about. As you all know, because you study FDR, this is one of his great quotes. We cannot always build a future for our youth, but we can always build our youth for the future. Well, speaking of youth, the Celtics are the only team in the NBA with 2 players 23 or under averaging 20-plus points. They're also tied for second in the NBA with 5 players 23 or under averaging 11 or more minutes. Chris Forsberg, can you please speak to the youth movement of the Celtics?
Yeah, I mean, like that Nuggets game in particular, right? We're watching Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum really sort of dominate there at the end of that game. And it feels fair to say that the Celtics might have one of the best young duos, maybe the best young duo in the NBA, and they are built to sort of build this thing out long term, regardless of the pieces around them, right? Like maybe it's not Gordon Hayward here long term. Kemba Walker, we'll see after this deal, but we'll be very interested to see what they do. And this is why I think it's also important that they work with Robert Williams and bring him along. If they get contributions from Romeo Langford further down the road, you need more of these young pieces to sort of build around this core that you've got. And if they can make these draft picks and the surplus that they still have hit on those picks and continue to build out this net nucleus, it'll be really interesting to see just how good they can be and for how long they can be good.
Yeah, and you got to give the Celtics player development department a lot of credit, right? Give Brad Stevens, the coaching staff. But when you look at the Celtics and the assets, you're talking about top 10 picks, top 5 picks. These guys were talented coming in. I think what we see around the league is talent isn't the only thing that gets you to where you got to go. You got to put in the work, and we've seen that from Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum and Marcus Smart as well. And so we have a lot of youth on this team, but they're winning games, I think, which is important to see. You look at a team like Phoenix in history, you know, they've been in the lottery forever, but never were able to make the grounds up and make the gains, Chris Mannix. We see the Celtics, the player development, the organizational culture really coming through here.
Yeah, I give player development credit. I give the organizational culture credit. But I would also point out that, as you kind of noted there, Kyle, these guys should be good. There were 3 top 6 picks in the draft. I mean, if any team in the league has 3 top 6 picks, they should count on that youth movement playing out. So last year, you kind of throw it out, a little bit of a mess. These three guys, I fully believe you could build around them with the right pieces and make them a successful franchise.
This last one here is for Kyle, and it's fitting because it's, remember, you are just an extra in everyone else's play. Well, I think we need to talk about Daniel Tice, who leads the Celtics in defensive rating and is 4th in the NBA in ESPN's defensive box plus minus stat, which I have no idea what that means. But Kyle, take it away. Talk about the impact quickly of Daniel Tice.
I think he's been one of the biggest surprises this season, right? When we came into the year, a lot of people thought Enes Kanter would be that starting big man. We thought we'd see more Robert Williams. Everybody forgot about Tice. And we've seen when Tice is healthy, he's actually played pretty well. He pretty much fits Brad Stevens' system. Even against Cleveland, he knocked down a couple of threes. And so give Tice a lot of credit, man. I think he's been one of the biggest surprises this season.
Drapes, I think you hit the nail on the head. It's the health, right? He tears that meniscus against the Pacers, ironically, a couple seasons ago, and it was overshadowed by Kyrie's injury in that same game, where the last one he played that year. When Tice is healthy, he doesn't need shots. He's fine with deferring to the guys around him. He can still give you that three-point burst occasionally, plays good defense. That's all you're looking for in your five right now. And for everybody that's sitting there saying, oh, the Celtics got to go and upgrade that big man spot, I just don't know if there's anything out there that's going to entice them enough. Tice might be the guy with Kanter and with Robert Williams moving forward.
Yeah, Al Horford was the linchpin to this team's defense the last couple of years. Daniel Tice has stepped into that Al Horford role and performed far better than expectations. The defense is 8 points better when he's on the floor. Teams are scoring at the rim at 55%. That's a great number when Daniel Tice is on the floor. Every metric you can possibly look at, Daniel Tice is thriving at defensively. He's also one of the best contracts in the NBA because of what he's making this year and how he fits in to what this team does.
Remember, guys, the only thing you have to fear is fear itself. Thank you. Be faster next time.